Goku has never used Hakai.
Yes, he did!
When?
He used Hakai and fused Zamasu in chapter 25 of the Dragon Ball Super manga!
That wasn't Hakai.
First, let me just say, I absolutely love the little background talk with that person. It made the video so much more entertaining. I absolutely love it. This is no hate to you, but I'm going to explain Goku actually did use Hakai. Now, in chapter 25 of the Dragon Ball Super manga, he states that he's going to use a technique. Keep in mind, anybody can learn the destruction technique. It doesn't matter who it is. Goku can learn it, Vegeta can learn it, Krillin can learn it. It does not matter. Anyone can learn this technique. He's also stated that he's seen Beerus use this technique before. Uses destruction, and Vegeta states that is Beerus' technique. Just because he is a novice does not mean that he did not use it. Just because he does not have it perfected like Beerus does not mean he did not use it. You cannot fail at something or mess something up, which he never failed it, he messed it up. You can't mess something up unless you have performed it. I can't jump and then be like, I messed that up. I messed the jump up if I did not jump. I can't just stand here and be like, oh, I messed up jumping. How did I mess it up if I have not jumped yet? Exactly.
That was Hakai, there would have been an explosion.
What do you mean there would have been an explosion? This Goku Soda!
In chapter 70 of the Dragon Ball Super manga, Beerus tells Vegeta that Hakai is always accompanied with an explosion.
Hyperbole! That's a hyperbole!
How so?
Because there was no explosion when Beerus erased Zamasu! You're just mad, bozo!
There wasn't an explosion in the anime, but there was definitely one in the manga.
There was no explosion in the manga. All Beerus did was turn Zamasu into dust. You don't know what you're talking about.
Actually, that's not what happened. There was definitely an explosion.
No, there wasn't.
Look at it yourself. There's even the word boom written on the page.
Oh yeah, but...
Now, the reason why there's an explosion here versus an explosion with Goku is one, this encompassed the entire body and fully erased it, which then caused the explosion. It wasn't ongoing. Beerus, did not start from the body, start from the top and start disintegrating him downwards slowly until his entire body was done, and then the explosion happens, because that's how Hakai works.
Manga. Akira Toriyama was experimenting with the idea of destruction.
It doesn't matter. Zamasu still got turned into dust. End of conversation, bozo!
I would agree if Akira Toriyama didn't retcon this entire situation.
Now, this is no hate, but you just admitted that Goku did use Hakai, but that it was retconned to be portrayed in a different way by Akira Toriyama. So what was the point of saying that Goku can't use Hakai if you just admitted that he can? That Akira Toriyama's initial view and how he wanted it to be was just turning people to dust. There wasn't really an explosion if you had not finished it, right? And then you also see Beerus do it, but it's not the same explosion that happens in chapter 69, not 70, as you said. So clearly there's a difference in explosion. So just because he retconned it later on for the explosion to look different doesn't mean that the previous versions are not Hakai. The previous versions are still Hakai, but now it's retconned to look different. That's the only difference. They still performed it.
There's more in the story that supports Goku not using Hakai than the contrary.
Like what?
Like the simple fact that Goku said verbatim, I tried copying the move but messed it up.
That is by far one of the horrible takes, and everybody always makes the same mistake using, oh, he quote said he messed it up. He never states, I never used the move whatsoever. I never was able to perform the move at all. Everybody's putting their own headcanon into that, just saying, oh, well, he said he messed it up, so clearly he did not use it. So I'm going to use the same example that I do with everybody else. I jumped, I messed up jumping. I messed it up. Does that mean I didn't jump? No, I still jumped, I just messed it up. So Goku still used Hakai, but he messed it up.
It would make sense if the very next piece of dialogue wasn't we saying that Hakai is extremely hard to master.
And what is that supposed to mean?
It means that Goku failed because he doesn't know how to do it.
And that is by far one of the most disingenuous takes I've ever heard. So if you mess something up, it means you're unable to do it. I jumped, I messed up jumping. I'm unable to jump at all for the rest of my life because I messed it up. Or how about throwing a punch, right? Just twist body. Oh, I'm throwing a punch, but I messed up the punch, right? Oh, that means I never punched. Again, horrible, horrible arguments. These are absolutely disingenuous takes. Again, any creator you can ask, no creator can debunk me. No creator can stitch this video and say that I am wrong. Because for them to debunk the fact that Goku has never used Hakai, they have to find a verbatim statement. Hey, I had never performed Hakai. saying you messed up does not mean you never performed it. You can mess something up while actively doing it. That's literally happens all the time. Also, keep in mind, just because he says it's hard to master, he never said that you are unable to use it unless you are a master of it, which you are saying that is the case. That is never the case. Why? Because guess who used Hakai before they mastered Hakai? And we know this character can use Hakai. Vegeta, who's not a master of Hakai, used Hakai, stated verbatim, "Oh, he finally did it." He was practicing and training, is still a novice, is not a master, and he was still able to perform Hakai. He fully erased something, which caused the explosion. Goku never fully erased something, so there's no explosion. Makes sense.
Use Hakai.
That's not true. We saw Zamasu turn to dust like a rock.
Yeah, but that doesn't count because of the retcon I told you about before. Why are we going back to Zamasu?
Because a retcon does not change what was done previously. Previously, again, this is still a fact, this is Hakai within the story. Again, this is canon. Now, the retcon is just, and again, there's no retcon in the first place, right? He never fully erased him for there to be an explosion. So I don't know where the quote retcon is. Maybe just the show of an explosion, while fuse Zamasu with Beerus shows that it just is more of like a push versus starting from the middle and going out. Maybe that's the only retcon, is just instead of boom, it's boom. That's the only difference. But again, a retcon does not change the fact that it did happen. But again, for the people in the back, it is not a retcon at all.
There are multiple pieces of supported evidence that says otherwise. The story is clearly leaning to Vegeta being the one using Hakai.
The story going to Vegeta being the one to master Hakai does not mean that Goku is unable to use Hakai. Just as Beerus can use Hakai, he can also use UI. So just because you can use a technique that is opposite of your nature does not mean that you are unable to perform the technique of your opposite nature. Goku used Hakai, learned that it's not for him, and went the MUI route, went the Angels route. He tried to do MUI, and then he decided to go his own route with the Destruction route. Yes, you can go to a different route. Yes, the story clearly states and shows throughout the entirety of the Dragon Ball Super manga that Vegeta will be the one to learn Hakai, while Goku will learn MUI. That does not mean that Goku does not know Destruction Energy. He does not know Hakai. He has performed it, clearly shown that he knows it. Is he going to perfect it? No, because he wants to perfect MUI. Just because you prefer to master a certain technique does not mean you're not allowed to know another technique. That is, again, one of the most disingenuous takes I have ever heard when it comes to Goku not knowing Hakai. Again, terrible takes.